Hello, everybody. I was tagged in the I Am a Wargamer video thing that's going around the community right now. So I thought, I was tagged by 3 people actually that I'm aware of. Karen at Michelangelo's channel, Tim at Broken Dice's channel, and Gary at Wargaming with Gary. So thanks to you 3 for tagging me. I appreciate the thought, and it was fun hearing your story, so I thought I'd just share mine as quick as possible. 3 questions that you're supposed to cover. The first was how you got into wargaming, and I live in the Midwest in the United States, out in the rural areas, so we didn't have any hobby shops around here. Just real small town rural stuff. What we did have was little plastic soldiers. I mean, look at that guy. That's classic. I mean, I don't know if they had these in the UK, but these, there's the flamethrower dude and the bazooka dude. And these were like 54 millimeter, I think is what they actually are. That's what we played with. You could buy these in huge bags, even our little small town at the little dime store, And so my brothers and I, that's who we played with, each other. And we went out in the dirt and we built forts and trenches and bunkers, and these dudes, they died 1,000 deaths out there. I'll tell you what, we were hard on these little guys. These are actually, I've got hundreds of these, and these are actually guys that I had when I was probably 8, 9 years old. Got those, and we played little games with them. I mean, you'd each get like 3 or 4 little dirt clods and 1 big dirt clod, and we'd take turns bombing each other's forts. You couldn't wing it right at the fort. You had to throw it up in the air, so it was a little more random how it would come down. And then after each had a turn, you'd run get down your hands and knees and check out the damage and see who was still alive, who was dead, who was buried, and then you'd move them and kind of played a whole battle without dice and without rules. But we just kind of agreed on. Yeah, he was okay, he wasn't, and we did that for hours and hours, and we did it for years. We did it till we were probably too old to be still doing that, but we were having fun with that. So, kind of started with that. I was building also, elementary, middle school years. I was building 1/72 scale, 1/48 scale plastic model kits. A lot of World War II airplanes, some modern jets, a lot of World War II armor, some ships, things like that. So I enjoyed building kits. And then my mom introduced us to Dungeons and Dragons in kind of those teen years. And my family, my dad didn't play, but all my siblings played, and my mom played also. And my brother was a dungeon master, and we played that for hours and hours. For 2 or 3 years we played that. And then through that, I got a subscription to Dragon Magazine. Thanks, Mom. And found out about in their ads, they had ads for miniatures and paints, and so I finally talked Mom into letting me order some of that stuff, and I started kind of painting them up. Not so much for Dungeons and Dragons, but just I was interested in knights and a lot of fantasy creatures, and so I was just painting them to paint, I think. And then probably the third piece of the puzzle during these same formative years, my brother and I had a model train layout. He liked the train part. I liked the scenery part, building the buildings, the hills, the cliffs, the roads. That's what I was intrigued with, making like a diorama out of it. So again, no hobby shops around. I didn't know about tabletop gaming. I didn't know about even when I was in high school, I didn't know about Games Workshop. Never heard of it. I saw an ad in Dragon Magazine for Citadel miniatures, but I didn't know anything about that. It was a whole long story short, I didn't really put that all together, but those were my interests and hobbies growing up, amongst some other things too. But then I went off to college, and that's when I kind of learned about this, because I was where you could get to hobby shops, and I didn't go much, but enough to be exposed to it. And so then when I came back home, came back home after 4 years of college to farm. And when my wife and I bought our farm and house, we moved all my stuff out of my parents' house, and I kind of was going all my old stuff, my old Army Men, my old Dungeons and Dragons stuff, or old Avalon Hill games we used to play, That was the other thing. My brother and I, we played Squad Leader. We played, was it like Panzer Leader, what were those one? Anyway, there was a bunch of them we hadn't played, and we played like Magic Realm and Wizard's Quest, and we had tons of them. Ordered them out of the Avalon Hill catalog, straight from Avalon Hill. Back in those days, you send a self-addressed stamped envelope and get some, black and white photocopied catalog back of stuff, and that's what you'd order your miniatures and games out of. But anyway, so that's a little bit of where I came from. And so then when I was moving all that stuff back to the house we bought, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I need to get back into this stuff. I didn't have any time, I didn't have much money, so I kind of found out, well, as time went, I was starting to get a little more time as the kids got older. So I brought that stuff here, and it just kind of sat in the attic till, for 15 years probably, or longer, 20. So it was got to be 8 years ago probably. I finally started digging that stuff back out, and I'm like, oh, I want to build model kits, or I want to paint some figures, or what of those old hobbies do I want to do again? And then I'm like, aha, I can. Because by this time, of course, with the internet and stuff, I'm all aware of, all this, and this going back just, 8 years ago, all this stuff, tabletop gaming that you can do. I mean, Games Workshop was thriving then, and so I'm thinking I can put all these hobbies together that I do, that I love, into one, because the tabletop gaming had the building the plastic kits, gluing the figures together, or some of the terrain. It was making the terrain for your table, which was kind of the model train side. Playing a game, which is the old Avalon Hill wargaming thing, the World War II history, which I always love. I just love history. I love medieval history too, and so I could combine all that into one hobby, and that made a lot more sense to me. So, and it's stuff I can use and interact with people. So anyway, so I'm late to the actual wargaming. I think the first actual wargame I literally played, where I built the figures, bought the game, and played the rules through, was Bolt Action in like 2013 or 14 was my first actual game. But I've been painting and collecting figures and playing hex and counter games forever, and reading about history, and so I finally had the time, the money, and through the internet and YouTube to learn painting techniques and where to get paints, and because out here in the sticks, you have no idea what's going on out in the big world there, and so the internet was a huge thing. But so anyway, so I'm late to the hobby, but I've kind of been hobbying my whole life. So that's my history a little bit. Where do I see my channel going in the next 5 years? I'm going to be honest, I've got no goals. The reason I started the channel was to interact with the community, to share a little bit what I'm doing. For me, this is like going to the club. This is going to the hobby shop or the game store, and hanging out with like-minded folks. I love watching your videos. I love seeing, when I see the passion in what you're doing, whether it's Wild West or Napoleonics or World War II or 15mm Ancients or whatever you're doing, it gets me excited to do my projects. Not necessarily the same project, but you're doing the same kind of thing, and the enthusiasm gets me excited. So, so I'm hoping that I'm maybe providing some of that same, enthusiasm or interest, or if I get just one person to pick up a brush or try a game, or just, be motivated to, like, yeah, hey, there's somebody else that does the same kind of goofy stuff I do, So I think that's part of it. So yeah, no, the production quality of my channel is not going to change. I'm not going to do a title screen. I'm not real technical. I don't have a lot of time, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. What you're seeing right here is what it is, guys. Sorry. So I'm not going to monetize my channel if it ever came to that. I just want to share with people what I do, interact with you folks. Gives us a platform to interact. So that's for me. So no goals. Set in stone. Advice to new YouTube channels: put yourself out there, go for it, like everybody else says. I did, because I got lots of encouragement from some people I'd interacted a lot with, and I'm just using a tablet, an iPad, on a stack of books on top of a stool. That's how I video all my stuff. It's no fancy, anything. One thing I would suggest maybe is if in your title and in your description, if you're a new YouTube channel, if you put specifically what it's covering, like 28 millimeter Victrix, Dark Age Vikings for whatever game you might play, specifically, because then when people are searching that don't know you're out there, it'll come up, and that's how like I did my, some of the things I did, and you find out some of the things you do might be even there aren't a lot of videos on, but even if there are, that's how it'll come up in a search. If you just title your thing like weekly update or project update or what's on the workbench, that works for the established channels because everybody knows who they are and we know what their weekly update covers, and it's awesome. It's perfect for them. But for new channels and nobody knows what you are about, that'll help people find you, because we're all looking for new people and people doing what we're doing. But if we can't find you, we can't find you. But and also interact with us, because we'll interact with you. If I get somebody that comments on my channel, I always click on their name and see if they have a channel. If they have a channel, and just a video up, I'll subscribe and I'll watch your videos. But I need to know you're out there, and I think that's true of everybody. They need to know you exist, and they will support you. So that's really my only advice. Go for it, and don't be afraid to ask for a shout out. We all want to help you out. So, and then lastly, I had a note here. It is. Sorry, I dropped it. Sorry, guys. I tagged 3 people. Also, you're supposed to tag 3 people. And first, I'd like to tag Terry Crick. He's got he's a lot of he does some Jacobites. He does some 1/72 scale projects. He's got some 28 millimeter projects. Got an amazing book collection that's fun to that he shares. Terry, I know you don't wargame much, I don't think, but I'd love to hear more about your history and how you got interested in the hobby. James, JVC Paints, like to see you put up a video about your wargaming history. He does a lot of 28 millimeter World War II. Beautiful painter. He does some killer fantasy halfling army. Got to check that out. I love those videos. And lastly, but not least, Sean at Shawna's World of Figures, I believe is his channel called. And he just has a huge variety. He does everything from English Civil War, Napoleonic, Dark Ages, Romans, you name it. He's probably painted it. And it's just, I think he has done some American Civil War. Really nice quality painter. Does some really nice stuff. Also fun to listen to, and the variety is outstanding. Very interactive. So all 3 of these, I'd like to see you guys see what your channels are about, how you got started in wargaming, and go with that. So anyway, I won't make it any longer, guys. I know you've got things to do. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care of yourselves and each other.